We'll tear your soul apart.
Be my victim.
But the prime time, bitch!
What's going on, horror freaks? Welcome back to the channel, or if this is your first time here, welcome to the channel. Today we're going to be talking about all the horror films I have seen in the month of January. Now this is actually going to be a monthly recurring segment on this channel where I'm going to be reviewing and ranking every single film that I've seen in 2025 when I see them, but I will just be doing that monthly. And we're just going to keep going throughout the year. Unfortunately, as of right now, given I live in a very small Canadian town and the nearest theater is about an hour drive away, I only got to see 4 films in the month of January, but there is more to come, so please stick around and let's go down this journey together. Without further ado, let's talk about all the movies I've seen in January 2025. Kicking things off with the very first film I've seen this year is Wolfman. I was really hoping this would be an instant classic, but it doesn't quite hit that level. Christopher Abbott gives a very strong performance, and I like the psychological horror angle this movie took. It's not just a monster movie. It's about the human side of this certain curse as well. The atmosphere is great and there are some solid tension building moments, but the film struggles with character development. The werewolf design and transformation scenes are okay at best. Some moments work while others do feel very underwhelming. And in a werewolf movie, it's kind of a big deal. It's still a solid entry in the genre. I do think this film is getting a lot of hate because Leigh Whannell was attached to it. Leigh Whannell is the director of this film, and I feel like it got overhyped in their minds. I do not think this is a bad movie whatsoever. If you love werewolf movies, it's definitely worth checking out, but do not go into it expecting the new American Werewolf in London. For me personally, Wolfman ends up on the B tier. It is good, but flawed. And next up on this list, we have a film that I told myself I was not going to watch because I hate watching movies that I know are going to be bad. I don't like talking about shitty movies. That's not what I started this for. That's not why I love movies. I don't like shitting on movies. I am a film fan, not a film critic, but I just decided to bite the bullet. I was bored one day and I wanted content for this channel, so I said, fuck it, let's watch Into the Deep. And I hated myself afterward. But I will admit, I do love a good shark movie, but this is not a good shark movie. It's a film where we get a hostage situation and then we get sharks, and it's about hunting for buried treasure or diving for buried treasure, and it just felt so convoluted and the sharks weren't even utilized very well. And let me tell you, this movie sinks fast. The script is very weak, the dialogue is bad, and the characters are completely one-dimensional. John Seda plays the villain here, but he's just as generic as they come, and even Richard Dreyfuss got dragged into this movie because they just wanted his name attached to another shark movie, and it is so obvious. And instead of doing anything notable or meaningful, he just delivers some forced wisdom and nostalgia bait for the main character. It just frustrated me so much. And don't even get me started on the CGI sharks. They look awful. Made for TV sci-fi bullshit. The action scenes feel uninspired, and the worst of all, it's just boring. I was so bored watching this movie. It's not fun, it's not scary, it's just another forgettable low-effort shark movie. Hard pass. This is going in the F tier for sure. Actively awful. Now that we got that out of the way, let's try to go the opposite here and talk about Companion. This one really surprised me in the best way. It's a horror comedy that actually works because, let's face it, comedy in itself nowadays has had a lot of flaws. But this one was able to blend the two very well, where I actually had some laugh out loud moments, and I very much appreciated the gore in this film. I'm not going in to talk about the story because if you stayed away from the trailers and go into this movie completely blind, I feel like it does way more for you as a viewer. I get why the marketing went the way they did and actually showed way more than they should have. It's gonna make people buy tickets as it always does, but if you want to have the best experience possible, go into this one completely blind. I had an absolute blast with it. Sophie Thatcher and Jack Quaid are phenomenal on the screen, just eating it up on the scene in the best way possible. As a whole, it's super fun, super well acted, and definitely recommended. If you're into horror with a little bit of humor, this one is definitely worth your time. Companion goes in the A tier for sure. It's great and definitely worth your time. And last up, the last film I seen in the month of January is Dark Match. Technically, this film did get released in 2024, but it got a wide release in 2025, and that is when I seen it, so maybe I just decided to add it to this video just so I could up the ante a bit and have more films to talk about. Guilty. But this is a very mixed bag for me personally. Horror and wrestling? Sounds like a match made in heaven for me, and honestly, this one was fun. I always love seeing Stephen Ogg on screen. I think he brings his characters to life in such a fun way. The acting was decent for the most part. I enjoyed the characters, except for the main girl because she was just awful. I did not like her at all. That's just personal preference. But yeah, this film was a good time. I just, breaking my rules again, I didn't like the cinematography in this film at all. Not that it was bad, it just felt so bland and basic. I get that they were probably trying to go for the grindhouse aesthetic, which would have been cool, and it did have a gritty style to it, but the actual camera shots were just so basic and uninspired. Aside from that though, honestly, if you're into wrestling or cult horror, you'll probably have a good time with this one. But if you're looking for something like next level extreme, this one really probably isn't it. But for me personally, Dark Match is also going on B tier. It is good, but flawed. And these are all the films I've seen in the month of January. What did you guys see? What is your favorite and least favorite you have watched this month? And what do you recommend is a must watch for me that is not on this list that came out this month? Whatever it is, leave it in the comments below. Let me know. And if you like this video, or if you didn't like this video, hit that thumbs up button, that subscribe button, and that notification bell so you can stay up to date with all the horror content I have coming your way. Stay scared, stay safe, and I'll see you in the next one.